They said it was about faith, about doctrine, scripture, and who prayed the right way. But by the time it ended, entire towns were empty, streets littered with the dead, and 1/3 of Germany's population had vanished. This was not a simple story of armies and generals. It was the story of millions of people whose lives were consumed by a war they never asked for. And once it began, no one, not kings, generals, nor emperors, could stop it. In the early 1600s, Europe seemed stable. Monarchs ruled with pomp, and trade flourished along rivers like the Rhine and Elbe. Universities educated sons of the elite, and cathedrals towered over thriving towns. But beneath this veneer, society was fractured. Europe had been split by religion and ideology. Catholics, Lutherans, and Calvinists coexisted uneasily. The rulers of small German principalities were cautious, calculating, and suspicious of neighbors. Take Johann, a merchant in Nuremberg. He had lived through the religious tensions of the previous decades. Every decision, what faith to raise his children in, which alliances to honor, could bring ruin. He stocked food for the winter, but feared that armies, not famine, would take it first. Or Elizabeth, a widow in Saxony, who had buried her husband to plague just 5 years before the war began. She prayed in her small chapel, unsure if God or men were the greater threat. Thus ordinary people, far from the decisions of emperors and kings, would become the silent casualties of a war fueled by ambition, faith, and greed. The war ignited in Prague in 1618. Protestant nobles, frustrated with imperial oppression, seized 2 Catholic officials and hurled them out of a castle window. Remarkably, both survived. But the symbolic act was deadly. The world watched, waiting to see if a local rebellion would become a continent-wide fire. The rebels crowned their own king. Imperial armies responded swiftly. At the Battle of White Mountain, a clash lasting less than 2 hours, the Protestant rebels were decimated. Executions followed. Lands were confiscated. Churches were forcibly converted. Among the survivors, there was Matthias, a young Bohemian soldier who had joined the revolt in hopes of protecting his village. He watched friends fall before he even drew a sword. He survived only to wander through the ashes of his homeland, asking himself, why did we fight? Meanwhile, peasants like Greta, a mother of 3, watched their homes burn. Soldiers demanded food, livestock, anything of value. When she had nothing left, they took her children as servants. Her story was one among thousands, rarely written, but endlessly repeated. As the conflict spread through Germany, the nature of war changed. Professional mercenaries became the new kings of destruction. Paid by whoever could afford them, these men were loyal to coin, not cause. Hansen, a German mercenary, fought for 30 silver thalers a month. When the army failed to pay, he and his comrades looted villages to survive. Farmers watched as the harvests were destroyed, their homes burned, their lives reduced to ashes. Visualize the fields once golden with wheat, now blackened by fire, smoke obscuring the sun, children fleeing across frozen rivers. Disease followed, famine weakened bodies. Typhus and plague thrived among refugees. Some villages were reduced to ghost towns, their churches standing empty, bells silent, gravestones marking graves without names. As the conflict progressed in Germany, neighboring kingdoms couldn't just stand by and watch. They had a stake in the outcome of the conflict. King Christian IV of Denmark entered the war in 1625 to support the Protestant cause against the Catholic Holy Roman Empire and to gain territory in northern Germany. Then came Sweden, with Gustavus Adolphus, the Lion of the North, also Protestant. He was a king who inspired loyalty, already legendary while he was alive. Soldiers like Lars, a Swedish pikeman, saw in him not just a commander, but a figure whose courage seemed to make the impossible possible. At Breitenfeld in 1631, Gustavus's disciplined formations crushed the imperial army. For the first time, the Habsburgs could be beaten. Yet even this victory carried human cost. Johann, now a refugee in a nearby village, returned to find it emptied of life. The victory of one army was the suffering of another. A reminder that war's glory is often built on invisible tragedy. In 1632, Gustavus Adolphus fell at the Battle of Lützen. Soldiers recounted seeing their king struck down in the chaos. The battle was a tactical success for Sweden, but the death of their leader cast a shadow across Protestant Europe. Civilians were left to navigate the aftermath alone. Refugees crowded into towns, spreading disease. Peasants scavenged the remnants of crops, while bands of mercenaries roamed forests, hunting what remained. Elizabeth, the widow from Saxony, was forced from her home yet again. She carried her youngest child on her back, her eldest son conscripted into an army he barely understood. Survival was daily, desperate, and uncertain. Even Catholic France joined the fight, not for faith, but for power. Religion became a mask. Germany became the battleground for ambitions far beyond its borders. Villages like that of Greta were trapped between armies, forced to pay tributes to whoever passed. She hid her surviving children in forest huts, listening to the distant thunder of cannon and musket fire, wondering if the world had abandoned them. By the 1640s, entire regions of Germany were depopulated. Scholars estimate up to 50% of some areas perished. Towns disappeared. Forests reclaimed farmland. Wolves roamed streets where children had once played. Matthias, once a young soldier, returned home decades later. He found only ruins and wild fields. Names he remembered from childhood were gone. Graves unmarked. The war had erased not just people, but memory itself. In 1648, Europe finally negotiated an end to the conflict. The Peace of Westphalia established sovereignty, religious coexistence, and a new balance of power. But Germany had paid the ultimate price. Politically fragmented, economically shattered, psychologically scarred, it would take centuries to rebuild. The 30 Years' War taught Europe that wars without limits destroy everything. Not just armies, but societies, cultures, families, and memory. For millions of ordinary people, Johann, Elizabeth, Greta, and Matthias, the war defined life itself. Their suffering became a silent testament to the dangers of ambition unrestrained, of ideology weaponized, of humanity left unprotected. When the smoke cleared, 1/3 of Germany was gone, and Europe learned a lesson that would echo for centuries. Unchecked power, left to fester, can burn the world to ash.